get into swimming in the first place?
I think I got into swimming just because my parents just basically wanted to waterproof me. You know, they put me in swimming lessons, and I actually failed my swimming lessons.
Oh wow.
And so they ended up getting me a private teacher, and then my sister was already on the swim team, and just on a road trip down to Disneyland, my sister was swimming a lot in the hotel pools, and I just started emulating what she was doing in the pool. And by the time I got back from that trip, my parents just signed me up for the swim team. I was 5 years old when I first registered for my hometown swim team. A small team. It wasn't like really hard training. It was fun competition sort of. Yeah. The first time I ever won an award in swimming, I was 6 years old. It was at the Abbotsford Whalers swim meet. I got the aggregate award, so it was a combination points, and that's still one of my favorite awards that I've ever won.
That's really. How many tattoos do you have?
What am I up to? I think I have 7 tattoos now. So yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, 8 tattoos.
Wow. Tell us about the Superman tattoo.
Yeah, the Superman.
That was the first one you got.
Yeah,
right?
that was my first one. I got that in high school. It was actually my swim team that I was on for grade 11, grade 12 were called the Chilliwack Spartans, and their team logo was the Superman S. And a lot of the older guys on the team, especially even the swimmer who I was looking up to, they had all gotten the Superman S done as a tattoo, kind of as a tradition for the team. So I kind of just wanted to follow in their footsteps and got it done. So it doesn't really have actually anything to do with Superman. It was the swim team logo, and that's also how I got my nickname, because when I moved out to Vancouver to train at the National Swim Center, my teammates just started calling me Superman, and then they started calling me Soup for short, and then decided that, you know, I didn't really want to be called Superman because I don't really have an ego like that, so he's, you know, for fun, kind of spell it like the food, S-O-U-P.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
The most important race I ever swam was that race in London, the 100 meter freestyle final, because you know, the Athens Olympics didn't go very well. Not that I really had any expectations, but even for a first-time Olympian, it was still just one big disappointment. And then going into the Beijing Olympics as the world champion the year before, went in with a lot of expectations, you know, from other people as well as from myself, and I didn't meet those expectations. So London, being the oldest guy in the final, having failed at the previous 2 Olympics, it was really my last chance at glory or even redemption. And it's really tough because the Beijing Olympics, I kind of had all the odds were in my favor, and I didn't do it. Whereas in London, all the odds seemed to be against me, but I still had to get up and get the job done, and I came out with a
Adrian gets it. Well, he won the trials in America.
3 Olympics and 5 World Championships.
And how many medals have you won?
Well, I got at the Olympic level, I got the 1 bronze, and then at the World Championship level, I have 5 medals. No, I wasn't expecting a gold medal. Although I guess you could say I wasn't really expecting a medal either. But before I left to go to Australia to start my staging camp before I headed into Melbourne for the World Championships, I got a call from my parents saying that my grandfather was dying. So the night before I left, I went to the hospital and saw him there, and he was drifting in and out of consciousness, you know, because of all the meds they had him on. But I was sitting beside his bed, and he came into his consciousness there, and he looked at me, and I knew that was pretty much my only moment to actually tell him something. So I just told him, Grandpa, I'm going to the World Championships tomorrow. I'm going to win you a medal.
Amazing! Amazing! A victory!
So apart from that motivational push you had, how else did you prepare for the event beforehand?
There's a lot of mental preparation. You know, it takes a lot of training to be confident in what you do every day, and feeling confident when you get to the race that you can actually, you know that you've done everything in your preparation. A lot of people, they think that, you know, if they have the right breakfast that day, then that's going to be the magical formula to a good performance. Where I go into the pool every single day doing whatever I can to be better than I was the day before, and if I can do that, I know that when I get there, then I've actually done everything. So I think a big part of it was the mental side.
And we know, like, when it comes to relays, you're always, I believe, always put to start the race.
Yeah.
Why are you always put to start?
I think you really have to look at who else is on the relay, and you know, like my times were always quite a bit faster than my teammates. So the idea to put me on the lead was to get them out in front, so that way when my teammates are diving in, that they don't have to be swimming in somebody else's wake, you know, almost like swimming uphill. So if we can get them a lead, then at least we'll give them, if you know the other teams have stronger swimmers on the back end, then at least they'll be able to ride a little bit of that wave and keep us a little bit closer.
And many people assume that if you're a 50 swimmer, you're usually put in the 100 as well. Is that true, or like?
I went the other way. Like, you know, growing up, when I was, you know, with the Mission Marlins, that was my first team. Our longest event was 200 IM, but as soon as I started training more seriously, I quickly became a 200-meter freestyler. So at the 2005 World Championships, I was actually 4th in the 200 free, and then I was 6th in the 100, and I didn't even swim the 50. So I actually ended up working the other way, starting at the 200 and trying to find my speed later on. But I think if you can do a really good 50, then
you could pull off the 100.
You could pull off 100. You probably have a better chance of pulling off a good 100 if being a good 50s freestyler than you would being a good 200-meter freestyler, because speed is a lot harder to develop than endurance. Endurance, you just kind of hammer it out in practice. Eventually, you know, the endurance sort of comes. Whereas speed, it takes a lot more of it's a lot more technical, I think. And you know, it's just either you have the power or you don't. So, and it's much harder to develop. But I really don't think there is a specific age limit when it comes to that. I mean, I didn't necessarily retire because of my age. I retired because I was just dealing with a lot of back issues, and it was actually really bad the day of the final. So I didn't want to retire because of an injury that might be coming later on down the road. I wanted to retire on my own terms, and you know, going out with an Olympic medal was probably the best way that I could see. I could walk away from the sport feeling like I accomplished everything. But I just saw my old friend Filippo Magnini a week ago in Italy, in Milan, and he's 31 and he's still swimming. My other friend Roland Schumann, you know, he's like 32, 33.
He's still swimming.
He's still going too, and you know, there's me I just turned 30 a couple of months ago, and I've been retired for over a year. So it really depends on the swimmer and when they're actually ready to go, both mentally and physically. But absolutely hated the full body swimsuits. Seemed like every single year a new suit would come out, and then new world records would follow.
It was really a shame that there are so many records out there, world records now, that are held by swimmers who wouldn't have those records if it hadn't been for the suit that they were wearing. I mean, how many world records did we see in Rome? Like over 40, I think. Like how are any of those actually legitimate? They're not fair. It's just they broke the world record because they had a better suit than the person had the year before. So when they banned the suits, I was incredibly happy that they got rid of it. Now, I didn't wear the newest super suit in Rome, and part of that was because I had contractual obligations to Speedo, and I was told that if I wore Arena or Jacob, that I'd be facing consequences from my contract. But even though other speedo swimmers still decided to do it, and I didn't see them get any sort of discipline, so it was a big legal thing why I didn't, which kind of sucks. But then at the same time too, it's I had a lot of people coming up to me and my coach afterwards, because I missed the podium by 2 100s, saying that I was the best swimmer and that if I'd been wearing that suit that I would have won, and they actually respected me more for not wearing the suit. So I took that away from those World Championships, and I don't regret not wearing the suit.
That's really good. Okay, for a while, for like 7 years, you kept on maintaining your form and improving in the 100 free. How would you say, what made you keep going and keep improving in your race?
I think I was very, I was innovative, so I was always willing to try new things, and always willing to adapt. My coach would probably say that I was very coachable. So no matter how good I was, or like no matter how, like, you know, whatever results I had, I still always felt that I could be better. And I think showing up to practice with that mentality, that even when you are world champion or, you know, whatever, you can still come into the pool thinking that I can still be better than what I did. And I think that was the biggest key.
So I know you talked about your grandpa and how he motivated you. So family is a big thing. How would you say your family played, what role did they play in your swimming career?
Well, my family, you know, they're responsible for getting me in the water in the first place. And, you know, though during my grade 11, grade 12 year, I really never would have been able to make that step from, you know, my small town, you know, summer club to training year round, because I needed my parents to wake up at 3:30 in the morning with me and drive me 45 kilometers, you know, to the pool. You know, I couldn't drive, so if it wasn't for them, that just wouldn't have been possible. I would have had to quit swimming, you know, right then and there back in high school. So, you know, and they supported me. You know, when I was on the national team, you know, they traveled around the world to watch me compete. You know, they were in Delhi for the Commonwealth Games, they were in Beijing and Athens for the Olympic Games. I didn't have them there at the London Games, though. I actually asked them not to come.
Why?
Just too much pressure, I think, because the last 2 Olympics didn't go very well. So just one variable that I thought I could control. So really just wanted to focus on the racing, but had my then fiance there because I think she was the biggest impact on my career for the last 2 years in terms of support.
And what would you tell us more about your current career as a coach?
Yeah, I'm doing private coaching right now, so I'm not coaching full time for a team or anything like that. But I'm doing my own swim camps now, because I've been doing swim camps over the years, just like through my coach's swim camp program. But now I've developed my own, and it's actually pretty cool because there aren't any camps out there that are actually developed to be actually fundraising opportunities for clubs. And I know that, like, small clubs always have a hard time, you know, coming up with funds to pay, you know, an Olympic medalist to come in and coach their kids. So I wanted to address that specifically. So the funds will actually fall on, you know, the swimmers' registration. So, you know, the parents, or if they're older triathletes, you know, the swimmers themselves. But then the clubs will actually receive 10% of the total profits.
Well, here in Egypt, we see a lot of young swimmers starting off. They're really good, they're training hard, and worldwide they could rank top in their age groups. But after a while, when they get into their senior years and college and everything, they kind of slow down and lose form. Do you think there's a difference between training a kid who's 11 or 12, or the young ones, compared to the older swimmers?
Yeah, you know, when younger swimmers, they never really ask why they're doing things in workout. They just show up and they just do whatever the coach tells them to. As swimmers get older, they want to know, like, why am I doing this? Especially when things start not working out. You know, they're not getting the results anymore. They always want to know why. And I think a big thing with me
was that my coach and I had really good communication. So I knew the purpose of absolutely every single set that I was doing. And so I think a lot of coaches, I think this happens around the world. A lot of coaches don't really like communicating that much with their athletes. They just kind of want them to show up and just do the workout that they're given. But unfortunately, as swimmers get older, that's just not going to happen anymore. And I think coaches in general need to realize that and start communicating with their swimmers more. You can get just as much from your food as you can from your supplements. You just have to know exactly what to eat. Although I will say that I was probably supplementing a lot less than the other swimmers, and again, that could possibly be a reason for my success, was that I didn't have that sudden peak from all the supplements, and then the inability to maintain. So I was kind of I was always just eating the right foods, eating foods that are high in protein or good carbs and things like that. I think the only supplement I really ever took was just whey protein powder. That was basically it. So I think kids need to worry more about the food that they eat on a daily basis, rather than the pills and the powders and their drinks and all that other stuff, because you can get lost with all the stuff that's out there. But you got to start with the foundation, and that's with good nutrition. My dream is just being able to just give back to the swimming community. I was once a small kid sitting in my elementary school gymnasium listening to a blind discus thrower talk about how she broke a world record for her disability, and I just thought that was just the coolest thing. And from that day forward, that's when I decided that I wanted to do something great. And then grade 3 was, my teacher asked the class what we wanted to do when we grew up, and I said I want to swim in the Olympics. So I know the impact that those individuals can have, especially on the younger generation. So since somebody inspired me, I want to now pay it forward and inspire the younger generation.
And if we were to have like any type of trainings or any events to promote swimming in Egypt, would you be into coming and helping promote that?
Absolutely. I've been in Egypt for 2 months already. I think we have another month left on this trip, so I've really enjoyed my time here, and if there's an opportunity for me to help out with Egyptian swimming, then I'd be more than happy to.
You could do a video clip and work on my music. So the first bit, I did a whole slew of interviews on TV and newspapers and articles, and just kind of getting things going to finish up that video clip and get it out on TV.
Well, we were, like she said, we were very busy when we first got here, so we've just been mostly just working on her music. Unfortunately, we haven't had a lot of time to really do the touristy thing. We were living pretty close to the pyramids, but we haven't actually gone to the pyramids yet, so that's still on our list of things to do. But I think overall we've really enjoyed our time here.
And could you tell us about the funniest thing you've seen so far in Egypt?
I think that would be the tuk-tuk accident. Yeah, we got rear-ended by a tuk-tuk, and the rear wheel ended up getting stuck in the bumper. And I wasn't driving, but I had to get in. She wasn't driving either.
Who was driving?
Oh, somebody else.
Oh,
Yeah. But I had to get in the driver's seat and drive the car forward just so we get the tire out of the car, and then all the tuk-tuk drivers all started yelling and fighting, and it got really dramatic when we were sitting there in the car filming them going.
It was part of our Egypt diaries.
Why don't you tell us about Hayden from your perspective?
Wow.
He's bald.
It seems so formal. Brent is he's a really, well, I'm not paid to say this. He's a really nice guy, first of all. What I admire about him is that he's very driven. I think that as you grow up, yes, you have people who motivate you and family and stuff, but I think you get to a certain point and you're the adult and you have to motivate yourself. When it comes to an alarm clock at 5 a.m., and you're older, it's you who takes yourself to the pool, right? And he had a lot of things that occurred, with like trials and through swimming, and he just never gave up. So I admire him very much for his dedication and just being a motivator, like a self-motivator and a goal-getter. When it comes to helping me, like we understand each other very well. I used to compete swimming as well, so I understood his career.
Cat.
And same goes for my music. He's there to support me in whatever happens. So he's an amazing guy. I'm pretty lucky.
You kind of in it together.
Yeah.
We're definitely in it together.
Yeah.
I think that's what it is. Success. The key to success is understanding and people supporting each other, especially when you're older and in a relationship. Right? When I first met him, like he was on a good diet, but some things he would eat, I'd be like, "What? You're top 3 in the world and you're eating this crap?" And it was kind of funny because also I'm Lebanese, and our diet is very clean because my mother makes a lot of healthy food, and if she uses anything, it's a little bit of olive oil. It's not like butter or any of that Crisco or whatever. So I grew up on a very healthy diet, and I love studying that stuff and learning about it and working out, and because I came from that background of swimming as well. So when we got engaged and I moved in, anyways, I love making food, and so we understood each other. We pretty much like the same things, and he had the right formula as well. And if I researched something and I found out about it, like we would just go and make it, and I think that was kind of key. The good thing about him is he doesn't eat stuff that's like high in fat, oily. He doesn't eat junk food. So when he refuels, he's refueling on the right stuff, right? And a lot of people have misinterpretations of what the right kind of refueling and carbs and this and that.
Yeah,
so.
I think especially over the last couple of years of my career, like again, that's kind of one of the reasons why I think I was able to keep up as I got older, was that was the one thing that was sort of lacking a little bit. Not that I was eating bad.
That's why I say,
but
I
I
just could be better.
Yeah, I could be eating better. So my nutritional education really excelled in the last couple of years, and I think a lot of swimmers they make the mistake of eating calories because they know they're going to burn them off in workout, when they should be eating calories specifically to fuel what they're doing in workout.
It's like a fast car, right? So you got to take care of it, put in the proper gas, tune it up, same thing, and your body will react better because you're putting healthy stuff in there.
Yeah. And how is it being in a relationship with an Olympic swimmer? Like, is it stressful?
No, I think no, because we really understand each other and we get it. We get the career, and we're there to support each other. I totally understood it, and it was not a problem for me. I was more interested in helping him get there, so it was more exciting rather than stressful.
And she was also a competitive swimmer too.
Right.
She
so
represented.
You understand how
represented Lebanon at the Pan Arab Olympics.
I did, and I got 5 bronze medals.
You should have told us that in the beginning, though.
No.
Yeah, so she already had an understanding of sort of like the athlete's lifestyle, and I think that was actually very key to our understanding.
I think what's really cool about him, he's very humble. I've been coaching and teaching swimming for over 15 years, so I'm very interested in all that. And I'd go watch him, let's say at a workout, and I'd notice something, and I'd be like, "Hey, can I tell you something?" And be like, in the freestyle, your pinky sticking out or something. I'm like, there's resistance there, and he's a very cool guy. And like people who are like, "I'm so fast, no, you can't tell me what to do." And he's like, good point. It's funny. My coach told me that. And I think that's the type of person who is successful. Person who beats about all this stuff, who's able to take it in.
So I see that you really support him in his career. So what would you say was the most stressful moment for you in his career?
I wouldn't say stressful. I would just say the one thing I wanted him to is achieve his goals. And that's all I wanted. But I was very confident that he would, because up to that point, he gave it everything. Right? So I was certain that he was going to do well. Like when I was in London, a reporter actually wrote a whole, from TSN, was it?
I think so.
She wrote a whole article on my perspective watching him. And she was so nervous, and I'm sitting there, I'm eating my sandwich, and my sister-in-law was with me, and I'm like, let's eat. She's like, are you kidding me? I can't eat. I'm so nervous for him. I'm like, what's wrong with you people? I'm like, he just, trained for this moment. It's all, it'll follow through. So I was fine. I had belief in him.
Okay, and would you come back with him if we were to bring him back to Egypt?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, I love this place, especially for my music and my fans. The most fans that I have for Vola Vola, Tiri Tiri Asfura, are actually from Egypt, and that's why I'm actually here, because of my fans. Lanterns dance, look a rainbow, shows them a face.